there, everybody. Welcome. I'm Cindy Daychuck with Queen Bee Creations. Today is a thrift flip video. I'm starting to work through some of the stash hanging behind me, all that junk back there, because I keep thrifting. I keep adding to it, so I need to start moving some things out. And we're kind of in that springtime, getting closer to Easter, kind of. People are looking to lighten and brighten. So one of the things that I thrifted, and I wrote down pricing as I took price tags off. So I thrifted this tote for $4.50. Now it looks like it's in good shape, but if you look closer, you can see there's all kinds of chips out of the paint. So what I am going to do is clean it. We'll use this paint as a base. It's in, you know, we're going to be able to kind of distress back to it. So I'm just going to paint the entire piece in white. So I'm going to do beadboard from DIY because then it's going to distress nice and easily for me. And it's going to serve as a base for doing a little decoupaging. So that's that piece. That's what's happening there. I have a piece that doesn't need painting. Yahoo! I have this little guy. Oh my goodness. So this letter holder, zinc patina, used to be originally $23.99. I thrifted it for $3. So yay on me. Okay, I can't get that off. I'm not going to worry about it. But I'm going to want to put florals in here. So I am going to paint it. I'm going to leave this silver part as is, but I'm going to paint the outside of it in a blue. So I'm going to do Seaside from Fusion because then it self-seals. So I'm going to get that painted. And I'm going to start with painting this old porcelain bird. So look, he's old, he's decrepit, he's beat up, he looks awful. So what I do have is this super thick mixture. Where's like a chunky brush, something that I'm not gonna mind stuffing into things. Okay, this has got, look at how thick this is. This has got some of the paint frosting from DIY in it. So it's gonna give me a lot of texture. I can just paint it on and smooth it out, but if I stipple, I'm gonna get a bunch of texture happening. And since this has got tons of nicks and dings and chips, it just makes sense to go with it rather than try and hide that detail, right? Hide all that textural detail and kind of mistakes. We're just gonna add texture so that it just looks like it was meant to be. That was part of it. And this is so thick, this stuff. And I'm impressed that I mixed this up ages ago. And I used what I needed for a project, put it in a little container with the lid, and I did some plastic wrap over the top and then the lid, and it's still fine. I can still use it. So I wasn't sure if this would just all harden up on me or not. So it's been a bit of an experiment, and I'm okay with that. But so I'm gonna get the rest of my paint and some texture applied to this guy. The exception being, you know, I'll kind of make it smooth by the eyes just so that we don't lose that detail. The rest I'll add some texture to it, but you know, this is just freshening up something that, what did I pay for the bird? I did under $2 for this, so $2 less 30%, $2.46, like $1.40. Okay, I'm good with that. But we're just gonna add texture and some color, zhuzh it up so that it can be loved again. So I'm gonna get this painted, I'm gonna get this metal blue by the time you come back, and the blue one's gonna look white. So there you go. I've got a little teapot off to the side. Teapot. That looks kind of a little bit rusted and worn, and we're gonna leave it that way. So we don't even have to paint that one. Yay. Now that we've got a couple of coats on this one, what I want to do, and I'm just debating, I had thought of doing some decoupage on the outside edges, and I think that's still my plan. But then I was thinking, what if I did it on this instead, on those two sides? So those outsides. And I'm maybe liking that better. What I do have is a recycled paper, numbered blocks, which is this fun one. We're going to be distressing this. I just think this would be like just a super fun little one to be able to do. Kind of colorful, kind of funky, you know? And then we'll distress it. So what I have to do is kind of, I'm measuring. So I could cut it at the fold here. And that would definitely cover two sides if I decide. Okay, let me put that side away. I like the pointing finger, but I have to cut it so then that whole finger is on there. So I'm gonna need to cut this lower. Just, you know, sometimes you just have an element of the design that speaks to you. I like the directional finger, and I like the bright yellow. I like also, since we're gonna be distressing this piece, I like the fact that this paper already looks distressed. That's part of its look. So if I have that hanging out there, I could cut it off about here, and then that would be enough. So all that we're going to do, and I'm going to do the two sides, the front and the back. I think that then I can see the paper better. Then I could see it more. On the ends, I don't get to see it as much. So I'm going to put this one here. And then, how big is my star? I can get most of that star on. So let me get this all cut down. Well, you know what? I'm going to have to put it on its side anyway. So let's just get this one down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my decoupage medium. I'm using Mod Podge because I got it. I've got liquid patina from DIY on the shelf over there. That would work great. I've also got the decoupage medium from Fusion. That would work great, but because this one is already open and on the go, that's the reason this is the one I'm using. So using what you got. I don't want to have 3 of them open and then not getting to any one of them in time before it maybe starts drying up. So I just like having one of what I need and not trying to mislead you on the videos at all. Okay, so this is going to go here. Ooh, so nice. So what I am doing is I want to lay it out, and I want to lay it out fairly flat. Try and get as many of those little creases out as I can. I have a little squeegee that I use, or my brayer, whichever one happens to be closest to my hand at the time. And I'm going to let this dry. before I do anything else. So I'm not going to top coat it, nothing, until I get this dried off. So that's going to look really fun. That's going to look really fun. So I'm going to let that get dried off before I do anything else with it. So I'll come back once that's done. What I'll do in the meantime is get this one cut down. I want to have, since I've got kind of that black finger here, I'm going to balance it on the other side with the black star. So I just want to make sure I get it sized enough that most of that star, because it's pretty big, makes it on my page. So I just want a little thin piece that I can slide down in there. That one's gonna be a little too high, that little edge. Just sends shivers down my spine. Just the feel of it. I use it, but it's icky. Okay, so the idea with this is I want to do a little spring kind of floral thing. So what I thrifted, first of all, I might use these guys. Just shooting things at me. And then I thrifted this. So just like a little lovely $2. So this was pricier, probably because it has the yellow paper around it, as opposed to just hanging out taped together. But this was $6. So a little pricier, but they were just kind of cute little wildflower kind of looks. And that's kind of what I was after. Just something that was going to be just sort of soft and kind of sweet, right? Okay, you're going to be a pain. You're going to have to come after, because there's only one. There's only one leaf on each stem. So I may want to tuck them in behind after, and I'll glue them. So I'm not going to worry about those yet. What I am going to do is just start cutting some of these apart so that I have them on stems and have some loose so that we can start tucking them in. But let me get them cut off first, and then I'll come back and we'll start doing that part together. I'm not sure if I have enough cut, but it's a start. What I did do was I hot glued my little piece of foam down in there just so that it is not going to go flying away. And what I'm doing is I just want to start, and I'm looking at this kind of extending out a little bit. So I like that curly one, just not sure where you're going to go. I just want to put a couple of these little greenery picks in first to start so that they're in behind and just kind of giving us a little bit of background filler more than anything else. Not sure about that curly one. Maybe just up in here and curling back. Okay, you need over a little bit. Okay, there we go. So then we start. I have a little bit more yellow than blue, only because it's the softer color. The blue is going to dominate regardless, right? Regardless of how much there is, it's going to be the stronger color. So we're going to want to balance that out. So we're going to need less of it because it will always look like more. I'm hoping that makes sense to you. All right, I need a nice, these are all different heights, and I'm thinking I need a nice couple of tall ones here. just to vary what's happening. And that's what you want to do, is just kind of create this in a way that you've got a nice mix of heights happening. So not everything is straight across, unless, I mean, there's certain things that you would do that would maybe be straight across. This just isn't one of them. Let's tuck a couple down in the front. And then we'll try tucking the blue in between. That one's not working for me. Okay. That one just needed to be reversed. It didn't need the two tall right beside each other. Okay, so I've got a couple more yellow cut. I want to start tucking in some of the blue first, though. Where's some of my taller blue? These blue guys are just like little spiky balls. So you can see I'm just kind of weaving the blue kind of in behind. You're going to give me lots all at once. Nope, you're too tall for there. This particular project started with this cute little teapot. So just a kind of a wall hanger, but it has all of these vines twined into it, and they're old and kind of broken and need to go. So I'm gonna get that cleaned out. But what I thought that we'd do is I would merge it with this other find, $2.99, which is just this broken crate that had these eggs all wired in. So we're gonna take that apart too, and merge them. But let me get all these sticks off of this first, and then we can get rolling. Okay, so I just opened up the basket, which is just kind of pokey, and look how cute this is. It's got a little wicker bottom to it. It just had all those old vines. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna merge the two of these together with the idea that this is gonna be kind of super cute for springtime with the little bird's eggs in there, and they kind of fits in with Easter and all that kind of stuff. So what we have is all this kind of straw stuff that I'm gonna use. I'm gonna stick it in there. So it starts to look like we're building our nest. And that saves me getting out any of the Spanish moss. All right, it's gonna need a haircut after. I didn't like I love the look of the grasses at the front. I didn't like the way that the grasses kind of fit in the back and they stuck out too much. So what I did do is I grabbed just a piece of regular moss, put that in the back, and then, you know, we're gonna be able to go and trim and tidy all of these off, right? So we don't have all of them sticking out like a bad hair day. Okay, that's better. Look at, okay, don't look at the mess, which is very messy. That's way better. So what we've got are these cute little speckled eggs. Now they're all kind of glued on, but as much as like these two are glued together, but we'll just glue them in together, right? And I'm just looking at kind of tucking some of these eggs in and just making it look like a little bird's nest. I'm gonna have lots of eggs left over for other projects. So bonus on that one. And I think I just need 5. I don't know if birds do it this way in symmetry, but I just need to do it. So I'm just gonna get those glued down and then this guy's finished. And then I have to clean up the mess. Our bird. We've got all of this heavy kind of textured paint on there. Now what I wanna do is start layering some other colors. But there's no plastic on this one. Okay, there we go. There we go. Just gonna crack that seal. Like butter. All right. So what I want to do is I want to add a couple of little layers of paint on here, but I'm going to do them lightly. So I want to take my paint, I'm using Fusion again, but I want to mix it up as a wash. So I've got a little bit of water in there, and because I'm not, oh, maybe that's too much, because I'm not mixing up a lot. There's maybe like a tablespoon and a half in there. And then, close one. I'm gonna mix maybe the same. So I'm using, this is Algonquin, I think, looks like Algonquin. Yes, you're Algonquin. I'm gonna have to get some plastic for this because I really don't want to go through that again, opening it up. So we're gonna mix Algonquin. So you can see this is very light. It's just a wash. So very thin. We're just going to wipe it on, and I'm taking an old rag and I'm gonna wipe it off right away. And I'm just doing this in patches because I really don't know how fast this is gonna dry. But we're doing it very lightly. So I can still see some of that base green coming through, but it's got that Algonquin all shining on it, highlighting it, sitting down in some of the details and crevices, and it's just kind of changing colors on us, right? We're just getting that in the details. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna let it dry. Yikes. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna let it dry, and then I'm going to do the same thing again using Victorian lace, which is one of the whites. So we're doing this, and then we're gonna finish it off with a white. Now that my paper is dry, what I need to do is to distress it. And I held off on distressing any of the painted surface because I knew I was gonna have to be sanding to cut away my decoupage paper anyway. And because I haven't sealed this yet, I do get to go and further distress this. So anywhere that I happen to have a little wrinkle or a little wear, I'm gonna distress it more. Whoops, because I can't. Because that's part of the look that I'm after. So using my sanding block, I'm able to cut away that paper just perfectly and easily. It's gonna give me as well a little bit of wear down to the blue, which is what I'm after. So I am gonna get this all cut away, sanded, and then I'm gonna seal the entire piece with a top coat. And you can use a top coat of your choice. For me, because it's paper, I'm not gonna use wax, even though I love wax. I'm gonna use one of my polyacrylics. So for me, that would mean in the DIY line, I'm either using Big Top or I'm gonna be using Tough Coat from the Fusion line. Either works. This is our little bird with the white wash over top. So we've got 3 different colors that are kind of popping up in here. The last thing I'm going to do with this one is give it a coat of clear wax. I'm just using DIY wax. Technically, I might not need it, but because I really watered down those last 2 coats of Fusion, I have probably interfered with their ability to be able to self-seal. The other thing is, I like the feel of the wax, so I'm gonna. In which case, I'm just gonna cover this in my clear wax. I'm gonna take a clean lint-free rag. I'm gonna wipe the excess back, and I'm gonna let this dry, and then this one's done. The last thing that I want to do is just add a little bit of dark wax, and I'm meaning a little bit. So I like to take a little hacked up little tiny brush, and I'm just taking a little tiny bit. This has got the clear wax on it so that I can wipe it away. But all I'm looking at doing is just using this in some of the lows and just kind of highlighting some of the details, doing a little bit of shadowing more than anything else. So it's not a lot. If I'm doing, you can see the difference between those lower 2 wings and the top 2. So I'm just adding a little bit in just to make some of those details stand out just a little bit. And you can see I'm not adding tons, but there's a difference between that wing and that. See how this stands out just a little bit? That's all that I'm looking to do. And too much. Just have a cloth nearby for if some of your wax comes out a little bit more than you want. And then this one's done. Okay, we're done. Let's take a look at our finished project. So first up is our little bird. And if you recall, this had chips and dings, it had an uneven finish, it definitely looked like it was ready for the trash. And I love working on items like this, where we can take advantage of the chips and we can add more texture and we can give it a little bit of a refinished look so that it could get loved again. It doesn't have to get pitched, but you can see just that little bit of dark wax highlighted some of the eyes and just kind of set it off a little bit. And we've got that base color that had some of the DIY paint frosting in it to thicken it up, gave us a lot of lovely texture. And then we just added 2 really light washes. You could sponge them on, we painted them on and then dabbed them off, and clear waxed it, had a little bit of dark wax to highlight the details. And then this guy, super cute. And you'd never know it was that same aged old piece. We then did that little basket, right? So that moss in the back really kind of held that straw in. I like those grasses. It makes it look very nest-like. We've got those little things, perfect for spring. I think this would be super cute hanging, if you've got a coffee bar, because of it being the little teapot idea. You could easily switch out the inside and put in real potted plant, right? And hang it outside in the summertime. So it's got a lot of versatility, and that guy I love, really cute. This little guy, it said it was for letters, but I love it dressed up with just these little pops of spring florals, just a super sweet little piece to be able to hang in your house to add a little bit of brightness and color. And I love those little yellow roses and the little spiky blue guys, right? It's just enough. It's just enough. And painting it out in the blue to kind of highlight those blues. Love that too. And we left a lot of the silver edging and silver trim, decorated up a little bit. And then the last was our big tote. It started life in that blue color. We painted it out the white, distressed it, added that wonderful recycled numbered blocks, decoupage paper, which I love. I'm so excited. It's like 2 different looks, right? I just love that paper. So versatile, and I still have a little bit more than half of it left to go. We distressed it to be able to highlight some of that natural blue that was on there, so we took advantage of that. I love how those little coin ends are all circled in that blue and really show off. Great little piece to be able to help with storage. All of these things, you know, readily picked up some version of this, some version of that bird, for sure. Containers like this at the thrift stores that are just getting tossed, people are getting rid of, and just a little bit of ingenuity and a little bit of effort, and you can give them new life and love them, use them, have them back in your home. It makes me excited. I hope you picked up a couple of ideas. I'm not looking for you to have to replicate any of these, but just to kind of open your mind to the possibilities and maybe thinking of certain things that, okay, I could turn that into a little floral, display, or, oh, just a little bit of decoupage paper. That's all that needs. Or, you know what? Maybe chipped and it may be mottled and ugly, but I can give it an awesome finish that I can use it, love it again. Hope you left with a couple of good ideas. Certainly looking to see you on the next one and give you a couple more maybe. Until then, take care.